Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, the 16th of July, 2024. And oh my goodness, am I having the internet issues of the friggin' decade here? Oh, it went on the touch up again in a little bit. And so I was doing a bit of a touch up thing on my videos for a little bit, but I don't like using it really. And it's not like I friggin' wear makeup anyways to my friggin' lives. And so, yeah. There's a lot of ground that's been covered regarding the Trump assassination attempt. So much more information is coming out. Like I've said, I have shared so much information on Signal, on Telegram, on various social media platforms. It's not getting well received. That's fine. It's not like I'm not used to that. It is what it is. I'm very controversial, and so it's not like I didn't expect it. But there's so many people that love Trump, and when I share that I don't support him as president, people lose it, right? And no matter what I share to reiterate my reasons why, it's still lost on people. So Jaron, he posted a video on Sunday, and it was so well done that and it really brings together stuff that I've been sharing with people. And so even though we were both like not discussing this with each other, we came to the same assessments and conclusions, and so I'm really excited about that. But he delved really deep into it, and this weekend I was really busy, so I didn't do it to the extent that he did it. Plus, I was also having internet connection issues, as everyone knows. I even had an internet tech come yesterday to try to assess, and there's nothing he can do. I have to shave down a huge maple tree. I'm not cutting it down, just so that ground tower connection is the line of sight is clear, because it currently is not. And yeah, so this is Jaron. I have to share this because like it's so well done. And yeah. Oh, there's me.
I think I'll say her name right. Dawn Dussault will be the July 20th
so weird
hangout guest. So what we do is the first and third Saturday of the month, we just get together and have a nice little friendly hangout. And then a member of the community joins us for questions and all that fun stuff. So thank you very much for the Lisa. Very happy with the 100th episode. I do appreciate it. People all aspire. Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's just don't let this stuff get to you. The point of becoming a truther is that you no longer let these things get to you. Now, I don't think that the point of becoming a truther is to then say everything's fake. That doesn't even make sense. Everything's fake. I'm a truther. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
but sometimes things are fake, and sometimes things are hoaxes, and sometimes things are set up, and sometimes things are orchestrated and planned. They are a production, if you will. So what I'm going to do real quick is just to get to the first point of the show. Might as well get this out of the way. The Operation Donald Duck. I thought I had a graphic for it, but I guess I don't. I do. There we go. It kind of fits. Anyway, let's get to Operation Donald Duck, just so I can show you what the kind of important thing for me is. And this is why I see this, I just ignore it. I'm like, okay, we don't need much more beyond that. So let's get to Operation Donald Duck. And let me bring up Google Earth. I know you're like, what? Google Earth for this? What does that make sense? What does that say? People never question. 223, 556 doesn't make a small hole. What is that, the caliber? Let me bring up this for you. If we can get that over there. There we go. Nope, that's the wrong one. We'll get it eventually.
There's a bit of a difference between 223 and 556.
There we go.
And a 22 and 9mm.45 caliber. 223 is would be a sniper round, and 556 would be either a light machine gun, like a C9 is what we call it in Canada, and then also used with our C7 rifles.
This is the Google Earth view of this particular location. Just want to show you one thing, and then it'll either tell you that something is set up, or at the very least, we have the most inept Secret Service of all time. Okay, so let me get down here and show you what we're talking about. I can't really draw on here, but you can look right here. This is where the stage was. Okay, picture a stage here. Picture bleachers behind it, and then kind of bleachers. The two on the side would be kind of a kimbo, if you will, kind of a little 45-degree angle. Okay. If you've seen the video that shows the sharpshooters, the Secret Service supposedly, they are sitting on this roof right here. We can kind of spin around. You might be able to recognize it a little better. Let me spin around for you. Okay. So there is where you had your audience and you have your, can't really see that. Where you go? There's your audience. These barns were behind the podium where Donald Trump was. Okay, so now let's just look at the grounds. Let's pretend that we are in charge of the security here. Okay, we just pull back and we're looking at the security here. Where would you focus your attention? Stage here, people here, president's going to be here. Where would you focus your attention?
Where would you focus your attention? And oh my goodness, and even Dallas was saying yesterday or the day before too, that even a 7-year-old could have done a better job at this. And there's so much, anyways, to unpack.
Because if I told you that the guy was found on this roof, there's a problem. Let's go ahead and drop down there and see what it looks like from the ground level. Okay. You're telling me that somebody, remember, this, if you're looking from here, over here by these sheds, the barns, let me just actually get up there real quick so you can see it again, make more sense to you. So as we get up and we look from a long distance here, there's those barns. There's the president's podium there. Now, if you want to make sure I'm not off on this one, I think that they said it's like 150 yards or something. So let's just do a measurement real quick from this building here. Hello. Get over there. To here. And that is a measurement of, in miles is not going to help us. Come on. Let's do it in yards for fun. Okay, so that's about 180 yards from there. All right, so that's kind of exactly where they say it was. I don't really know if there's which part of the building. You might have been over here, for all I know. Doesn't matter. Okay, so this building here is, I mean, it's just a complete and total joke. Like, I mean, how could it not be? Oops, hello. So, that was really weird. It just shut down Google Earth. Guess you're not allowed to look at that location. 1 second, I'm going to back up there. Let's get it back up there 1 second. That was weird. Just said, no, you're not looking at Google Earth anymore. You've had enough. Like, no, really, I haven't. No, you have. Okay, fine, I have. All right, let me get this back up here. Let this come up. I think I should find it pretty easily. I think it was, geez. Now I don't, Lakeside Road. Let's hold on. Lakeside Road, Butler. That's why you do things ahead of time, and then it just screws you up. Butler, Pennsylvania. Let's try that, see where that takes us. Maybe transition over. This might not be, is it going to take me to Lakeside Road? Okay, good. We're right back where we were. All right, so we're back to where we were at the barns. Here we are. Okay, so let's go drop down here again just to see this location where this guy was. All right. I mean, it's insane to believe that during a presidential rally or whatever, that somebody climbed this building, okay, with a gun, with a rifle. Like, nobody is observing this building. That's all I'm saying. Look at how high this building is. Well, first of all, how did they get up there? Let's go zoom in and see. Is there any ladders over there? Okay, I mean, there's not even a ladder on this side. If they climbed on the other side, we got even bigger problems than we think. Let's go to
So apparently the ladder was brought in.
Other side over here, see what we get from the other side. Okay, we're going to go over here.
As I mentioned.
And drop into this parking lot. See, again, remember, Donald Trump's going to be right in front. I mean, if you are an inept Secret Service agent, if somebody said, look around, Jaron, where do you think we should start? Well, it's going to be tough for somebody to be from over here. It's going to be tough from over there. I would say make sure that these buildings here are secure. We should be pretty good.
Yeah.
That's the one place you would go.
And that rooftop was assessed as a vulnerable point, even days and weeks leading up to the event. There's so many things that I've already discussed, so I want to get Jaron to talk about this stuff. I'm just going to bring in
Somebody
points
says there was
to reiterate because, again, my internet has been so shitty. And so, anyways, it seems to be working well now. But this is really
where's
important.
The ladder? So it was set up for him. What I'm saying is there's no ladder here.
The fact that he's assessing this like at such a high degree, like really
ladder, please. Sorry, am I not being loud enough?
Yeah.
You could also use the volume control on your computer. It works, you know. All right, so we'll back out of here. We'll just look again to see where you're talking about a ladder. We don't see one here.
But apparently, again, there's going to be more information to come out. But apparently, there was a ladder introduced.
Again, there's no way this person got around to the front of this building and climbed.
He's looking at Google Earth right now, so this is just to reiterate. He's not looking at footage from the present day or from the actual shooting itself. Just keep that in mind. And so there's a lot of conflicting reports. I'm not I'm aware of that. and how things were announced even like the day after. There's so many weird things that how could they have not been scheduled and planned and staged, even including JD Vance being selected as Donald Trump's VP. Again, this is not popular, people, so I'm gonna friggin', upset a few people, but this is just something I shared yesterday. Trump announces VP choice today, Ohio Senator JD Vance. Who is Vance? Well, he received a $15 million donation from Peter Thiel. That's Thiel. Thiel apparently had several meetings with Mr. Epstein in 2014. In now deleted tweets, Vance once called Trump cultural heroin and wondered if he would be America's Hitler. But don't worry, he made amends with Trump with Mr. Thiel's help. Peter Thiel backed a startup called Palantir. We all know about that, Palantir. Whitney Webb talks a lot about Palantir as well, and has for years. So have I. A WEF partner, so the World Economic Partner, World Economic Forum partner, I don't know if I said that, and secret purveyor of government spy technologies, supplying near magical tools to law enforcement and military clients around the world. She says globe. I don't think it's a globe. Around the world. I'm just correcting that. Vance's wife is connected to Bill Gates. She not only received a scholarship from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, but also serves on their Cambridge board. Cambridge. Propaganda PsyOps institution that is also in charge of publishing and releasing the King James Version of the Bible. And again, the connections with Johns Hopkins University as well, which is seen as like some kind of an elite school, which has a department that's literally specializing in propaganda and PsyOps. Anyway, but don't worry, trust the plan.
Sure. But regardless, that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is this building here, okay, is very impossible to even imagine that somebody would get up there. Now, the stories that you hear is that people saw him up there. Hey, there's a guy up there. Hey, there's a guy up there. Hey, there's a guy with a gun. We just saw him. And everybody just kind of didn't pay any attention. Then you've got these guys who just look like they're retarded. Okay, let's go over here and just see. Remember that I don't know if you've seen the video. I can bring it up if you haven't seen it. But there's the guys.
Because I've said this before to you. Like when we use the word retarded, like it's not meant in the way that people are trying to make it. Okay, we would never call anyone actually disabled or cognitively disabled, any of that stuff, that word. Okay, it's used for people that fuck up really bad, whether it be intentional or not.
On top of the building with the long guns, talking about the Secret Service, posted about here. Now let's pretend that we are these guys. Okay, we're going to get down here right to the point where they are. We're right here. Here we are. We're the Secret Service. We're like looking around. Where would we focus our attention? Let's see. Well, that's trees. That's trees. Water tower. Well, it doesn't look like there's much over there. Let's go back this way. Yeah. It pretty much can only be that fucking building. There's a ladder on the other side of the building. We just looked at both sides of the building. You mean this side? Make it over here. That ladder? Is that a ladder? I can't even see. It's not very clear.
It looks like
But, I mean, if that's even worse, they're on the same side as the president, so they climb up that ladder. There's just no way. There's just no way that you would ever. I mean, if it did take place as they say, then we have the most inept secret. I keep wanting to say Social Security, Secret Service ever. They were right here with eyes on the guy.
New hires,
and I don't know.
Not official ones that were used like as permanent staff. They were people that were like apparently like it was a third party contractor that was utilized, and so people that were not as well versed and experienced.
I don't know what the exact story is. I think I've heard some people say that they said they had to stand down or whatever it is. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. No guy crawling around with a long gun is going to get up here unless it's some sort of incident like we've seen before where they somehow use MK Ultra, Manchurian Candidate kind of idea. And this was all planned and it was all meant to happen. But I mean, you're talking about this building right here.
And more feedback from someone in the community. So asked me the other day, did you see the Lions Mason sign at the start of the video and the 66 on the guy's t-shirt besides the shooter? Fucking clown world.
There's a guy laying there.
So there's a lot.
These guys don't see him. Nobody's paying attention. As soon as somebody says, hey, there's a guy with a gun up there, the very first thing that would happen is, excuse me, can we get the president off the stage, please? We got a report here. Oh, yeah, sure. We get the president off the stage. Not just wait until the guy shoots bullets. Anyway, so this is the building here. Wait. I'm just making sure it's the right building because I think it's this one, isn't it? Let me turn around here. I can only see this way. get up here.
Jen is doing such a good job.
So it was
I'm
this
so
building.
impressed with this.
So it's not. So you're saying this is a ladder right here? I'm trying to get
Like
down
always.
here and see. I can't see it, and we didn't have any good. There's no view of the drop down spot. Let me see if we can get in. I think it's only going to put me on the other side. Yeah, best I can do is get right here, and from there we're just going to see that we can't see the other side anyway. Yeah, there's nothing there. Go this way. No, it's this building for sure. Somebody said it's a smaller building. Which smaller building? Let me get up there again to see what people are saying. Smaller building. Which is the smaller building? You're talking about this one?
It's all weird.
You're talking about this building? What is that building? This is a glass works or something. Rubber. Wait, what's that? AGR. Yeah, it's glass. I am the Buddha. What are you asking that for? Was the real Jainism killed? No. Did the real I am the Buddha become retarded? Must have been. What am I saying that's wrong? Are you guys this fucking brain dead? I don't know what's wrong with Buddha. What did I say that would even cause you to question what I'm talking about? I'm reporting the story as we're told, and you're like, oh, what, did Jaren die? He's reporting the story. What are you talking about? So who hold on, Melodome, think about what you're saying. You just said they got photos of the ladder he supposedly climbed. Well, where'd the ladder come from? Don't tell me that there's a ladder that goes up to the roof that wasn't secured before the president came. What does that mean? How did he get there? They just had open access to the buildings right next to it. The president's right here. Right here. Anyway, the whole moral of the story is the Secret Service is completely out of their minds. They're completely inept. They're completely useless. They should all step down.
Yep.
As they were probably told to stand down, to be honest with you. That would have been the first place. Thank you, Ramon. At least somebody's paying attention. At least somebody's paying attention. Yeah, I am Buddha. Well, yeah, just keep repeating the same thing. That makes you a smart guy. I think parrots can do the same thing. They can do that. So it just seems to me to be an impossible thought. Now, could it be possible? Sure. If we have an inept Secret Service or somebody wanted it to happen or it was all planned, yeah, of course. Then you can say that. You can say, but otherwise it's just complete and total. I mean, if there's a ladder between these two buildings, it's not here permanently. It's not attached to the building. So somebody set up a ladder and nobody went by and said, hey, we should watch that ladder. That can get somebody up there and then they'll have the only clear shot at the president. Just seems insane. Just seems insane. I did get shot in the ear yesterday. Luckily, just get a little nick. Everything's fine. Seems to be the smaller building with the photo of the deceased shooter from the ground. This building here you're talking about. I don't think I've seen anything that says that. But it could be. I've seen this building being reported. This one right here. But again, I'm not, certainly would never say that this is a real event. There's too many things that went completely wrong that just aren't the way they would ever happen. First of all, did you look at the Secret Service that was with Trump? Like, who are those, like, fat women? What's going on with that? Fat women? Thank you. Drones. Good point. Yep. You're telling me they wouldn't have drones up? They have drones everywhere. I think I told you guys about my trips to the Giants games now. So we bought a 6-pack of tickets before the season, got them on Black Friday for $5 a seat. So I bought 4 seats to 6 games, $120 or whatever it was. Greatest deal I ever had. Because originally we weren't going to go to any games this year because my son is now 3 and he's no longer free. So I'm not going to pay money for him to go to the game. But then we got these $5 tickets. Right, yeah, let's go. So, sorry. On the first time we went, I got this text message that said, hey, take a selfie to get into the game without your ticket. Like, what? I thought about it. I'm like, they're probably going to start doing this. I don't think I'm actually doing any good to just say, like, I'm not going to take a selfie with myself. I want to see what this is like. So I took a selfie. I was actually sitting on my toilet at my house, took a selfie of myself, and it said, thank you very much. You'll never need your tickets the rest of the year. Like, what? How does that work?
Actually, I'm going to share something. Because I delete my cookies in my browser history often, just because it also slows down my internet connection and computer. I was having issues logging in, but this is something I shared yesterday, and I think it's important. If I can even get it to load, I thought it was going to play here. God damn it. Okay, it's playing, but just in a different site. Oh, let me see here. Okay.
Shit, dude. Watch. Watch. She sits down. Yep. Watch this. Puts the sign up. Something that said, "Take a look at what happened."
Shots go off.
She's completely normal. And then watch.
And then she's got her.
What the fuck? What the fuck? People are freaking out.
And she's filming.
And she's just like right there. She's not even freaking the fuck out. What the fuck?
I'm just going to replay that.
No. Watch this shit, dude. Watch. Watch. She sits down. Yep. Watch this. Puts the sign up. Something that said, "Take a look at what happened."
Shots go off.
And she's the facial expressions that were made as well, like and the response. I've shared this video with people that are high level government and security details and stuff like that. And I get, this is not to say that this is not to make to rush to an assessment, but it's very suspicious. There's multiple things within this interaction that do warrant further investigation into this. That's all we're saying.
She's completely normal. And then watch.
And then she's got her.
What the fuck? What the fuck? People are freaking out.
And she's filming.
And she's just like right there. She's not even freaking the fuck out. What the fuck?
Yeah. Something to question. And then I'll get back to Jaren because like he is so friggin' like there's so much here that's great.
What do they mean by that? So we show up at our first game, and there's this one gate that says, I forgot what it's called. Quick Pass. I could check out my phone. I forgot what it's called. What is the name of this thing? This thing that Major League Baseball uses. Let me see what it's called. It's called the Ballpark app. Just want to see what the exact name of this thing is. Ballpark app. Welcome to Ballpark. What is it called? I don't see the name of it here. Come on, what is it called? Go Ahead. So it's called MLB Go Ahead. Okay. So I'm like, okay, let's see what this is. We show up to the game. There's this aisleway that's for Go Ahead people. Like, I think we go here. We walk around the corner. They're like, hey, how's it going? Good. All of a sudden, on a screen, pops up my fucking face on the toilet. And it says, welcome, Jaren, and 4 guests. And we walked right in. And it was like, are you kidding me? Nobody checks your tickets. Nobody gives a shit. The machine is the one that did. Now I was like, oh, God, now you know what's coming. Oh, Jaren, unvaccinated, not allowed at the game. Oh, Jaren, bad social credit score, not allowed at the game.
Oh, my God.
So I do tell you that for one reason, especially, is because the technology for facial recognition now is so good. I mean, there's not like I had to go stand in front of a camera and have it scan my face. I was just walking into the ballpark and it knew who I was in an instant. So imagine what they could do with that technology now. And we're just supposed to pretend that none of that's going on. Nobody would ever check you wouldn't have a drone to look at the roofs of these buildings. Again, it just seems pretty much impossible. And you got Donald Trump saying, wait. I want to fight. It just all seems a little bit over the top. That's all I'll say about that. But you can.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Believe what you want. What was to say? When Trump did the fist pump, the woman who looked like a Secret Service person looked like she also was fist pumping. What is this ballpark facial recognition stuff? Wow, it's just ridiculous. So now, and then we went to 2 more games since then. Even went with my sister. I told my sister when we went and met her, like I said, we got 4 tickets, so we have an extra ticket to each game. And I told my sister, I said, watch this. We won't even have to give them our ticket. She's like, what do you mean? I said, just follow me. We're going to walk right into the ballpark. She goes, no, you're not. Follow me. We walk right in the ballpark. It's insane. There's just one row for people that have this go ahead thing, and it just scans your face. It knows that you have 4 tickets. It says, Jaren, hi, 4 tickets. And then there's just somebody standing there who's just like, hello, at 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, go ahead. No checking of anything. It's just insane. It's insane. Does it tell people to remove? There is no masks right now. It just started this year, so it has nothing to do with masks. No, but supposedly, Coriolis, how about this? I did read that it says even if you're wearing a mask, it can tell who you are. So how about that? So even if you're wearing a mask, a surgical mask, it can still pick you out. So that's just crazy. It just tells you what the world is becoming. And like I even told my sister, I'm like, you watch now, the next thing you know, If I'm unvaccinated, it's not going to let me in the ballpark. So she's like, haha, they don't know who I am. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's a mistake I made. Let me see real quick. I have one thing over here that I wanted to, did I put it there? Just want to make sure that you know what I'm talking about with these videos. And I put a couple of them over here just to, that's a good question. I just saw I was doing a video and you called it, did Coriolis save him? Well, it must have been. Maybe he didn't factor in Coriolis, stupid idiot. And look what happened.
That's so.
Look what happened. You
Coriolis
missed.
save him.
You missed. Let me see this real quick and make sure I've got this video. Just because I want to show you these fools. First of all, fools, I tell you. These guys. Here we go. So this is the one I'm talking about. These guys up on the roof. Oops, you can't see that. Move it over here. And first of all, this is the most inept person I've ever seen in my life. How can this person be a Secret Service agent? Watch this person right here. Can you guys see the screen? Let's see.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. It's got to be a little lower, a little higher for you. There we go.
So
Okay, watch this person right here. And tell me how this person became a Secret Service agent. Confused.
They all are.
Kind of trying to grab her gun, can't grab it. Okay,
God.
now I got her gun. She got her
like, and even like it's just
gun. Now she tries to reholster it. You'll notice here she's reholstering.
And look what her finger is.
And
oh
she
my
can't figure it
God.
out. No, I'm going to hold it anyway. Keep holding it. Was trying to reholster, but now because I couldn't get it in there, I'll just hold it. I got it. I've got it now. And now, no, I think it goes in there.
In and out.
I mean, that I could holster a gun.
Oh my God. Like just even him.
Like that. I'm not a Secret Service agent for a damn reason. Because I don't have any practice with shooting villains. And I can't holster a weapon very quickly. But yet, this person is doing that. Again, this has nothing to do with whether the event is real or not. It has to do with whether we have inept people in the positions. This person should not be a Secret Service agent. Okay? Nothing against women. Maybe Dawn Dassault can be can be a Secret Service agent. Not that person. Look.
I swear to God, I haven't watched this far into it, so I had no idea he was even going to bring my name. Actually, I'll speak to that. I was an infantry officer for 15 years. And I was also on the Sandhurst team, even at RMC, and that is a huge obstacle course competition. It takes like the nine of the most elite athletes for men, and the 2 elite athletes for women to be selected for this. And there's so much training that's done: firearms training, assault boat training, rappelling, you friggin' name it. Like the NBC stuff, running with full FFO on, mass cast situation simulations, you name it. And yeah, and then I was also like the top, like literally even at RMC, like the top, like I was top shot with pistol and with rifle, and the same thing with battalion. And I'm an advanced firearms instructor. I've trained law enforcement, peace officers, wildlife preservation officers, like you name it. I've taught people advanced level firearms instruction. I have plenty of friends and colleagues that also teach advanced level CQB stuff as well. I have those qualifications. I've done executive protection for the heads of the Bank of Canada and the SDGs. I've done it for the Prime Minister, like I've said before, even in the last 2 years, for people within the Special Forces. I've done it for the head of the Toronto Raptors and countless others. And there's so many things that need to be done. And by the way, my training, even in the Special Forces, I was like during the elite level Special Forces firearms package that you do as part of training, I blew it out of the water. And so I got a perfect score, and I was the top shot on my course, and so I have proof of this. And then also when I was in the Special Forces, and I hate this because I'm not bragging about this at all. It's not a brag. It's to give context. But even when I went to Blackwater, multiple times when I went to Blackwater for not only advanced driving instruction, but also for advanced firearms instruction and training, I was actually literally on the line with even the assaulters, and with an iron sight, and I beat them all. And so this was with pistol, and we did it with rifle as well, and I did freaking amazing with that as well. But this is just to show you context that I've always been a top shot. And so even with my drills, like the holstering, the reholstering, like on the move, all of this stuff, I've done this using barricades, obstacles, etc. And it takes a lot of training. And so I know for a fact that people within government are not getting the level of training that they need to get in order to be in these positions. And people like myself have been offering these course packages for years, and people are like, training is the first thing to go away when there's budgetary constraints and stuff like that, or when there's lockdowns. And so there are people that we're getting now, like when I was doing the executive protection for Justin Trudeau, the head of the the former prime minister of Japan. He had just been recently assassinated, and Justin Trudeau, very much like, there was a lot of threats because like he's not very popular in Canada, and so there's a lot more that goes into it, and so there was more threat assessments to make, and doing reconnaissance like days leading up, weeks leading up, and you have to do work with Parliamentary Protective Services and other people, and that coordination stuff, and even, and I shouldn't say this, but there was a communication lockdown also like during that day, so like fully people did not have access to their devices, and so because I'm on a separate network, and I've trained for these situations, I was literally the only one, even with my detail and then the other details, that actually had communication with anyone, and of course I had multiple IDs on me as well to get in and out of buildings. Other people were not doing that. I had hard cash also on me, not only Canadian but American, and so people were not able to use like their credit cards or their debit cards or anything like that either. And so even like, and I shouldn't say this, but again, this is open source, so it is what it is. I can speak about this stuff now, but even within the like the detail and the people that I was protecting, they were using my phone to communicate with anyone, like even outside of Ottawa. And anyway, I'll just leave it at that. And so like people are really not well trained as much as they should be anymore. And it's because we're hiring woke DEI people. We're not focusing on the right things. Okay, there's people too busy getting a fucking bullshit narrative of what's going on and like pushing again like psyops, and they're not doing actual on the ground training. Train as you fight, okay? And like her not being able to holster her fucking weapon. Oh my god, like these are drills that she should be like. This should be like, even the recommendation that we do like for people within this industry is like, look, go in a mirror with your kit on, and then just holster, reholster. It's muscle memory. And especially if your kit or your gear is changed for whatever reason, you need to further apply a lot of drills in order to get away from like the training that you had previously to that. I hope that makes sense to people. Like I'm going on all these tangents, but I'm glad Jaron said that, because I know women that are incredible shots. I know women that are very high functioning, and it's not even just about being a bodyguard or like a fucking body to like cover someone, but you also need to have people that have the tactical and the strategic and operational experience in order to do the threat assessments, the vulnerable points, the choke points, the all of that stuff as well. And again, days, weeks leading up to the event, especially during that day. So even that morning before, like I found time, well, you need to fucking find time, but to go back out to the site where they were going to be communicating and when there was going to be like a link up and stuff like that. And I was literally doing another threat assessment, taking a look at more vulnerable points, looking in the friggin' garbages, like even surrounding the venue. And then you're looking at so many different things. You're even looking at fucking ships or boats, like on the canal. Like there's literally, like there's a lot of things you need to factor in. And yeah, I'm going on all these tangents, but Jaren's getting it so right. And I know women that are in the first responder industry that are such fucking heroes, like Helen Bruce, and people I can't name yet, but that have been, they're not diversity hires, but there's a lot of diversity hires now, so I get it.
Look at her trying to struggle to put her freaking gun in her holster. Did it. Oh, I can't do it. Now she's like pretending. Okay, everything good? All right, we're all good. Now put it. Oh, got it in there. All right, I got this. First of all, I don't think that I, at 44 years old, should be able to be any Secret Service agent in a race. I'll bet $1,000 I beat her right now. I'll beat her.
Yeah.
I'll beat her in a race.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be a Secret Service agent. Not at all.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's that other video of the guys on the roof. Where is it? Oops, I thought it was on here. No. Wait. And then power to the people. I just hope people don't fall into this whole trap of Trump's the savior. Trump is the, he's the beast who got, mortally wounded. Just don't, please.
They're trying to make this thing.
So I just don't think that person should be in any way a Secret Service agent. And I don't know why that would ever even be thought of. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It just seems like everything's going weird nowadays, like on purpose. Like there's nobody could be doing that on accident. Like, oh, let's just do this. What do you mean? Have the most ridiculous people? And I don't know what woman would want that job anyway. Like, can't we?
Mhm.
Are we so much in this inclusive era that we're not smart enough to recognize that bodyguards of the president should be male? Is that not weird? We'll have to ask Dawn on Saturday. Dawn, do you think it's okay to say that I think that the bodyguards for the president of the United States should be male and not a female who can't holster her gun?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Yeah. He's probably not going to watch this video, and I'll answer that on for sure. I'll answer that on Saturday as well. Bodyguards are different than executive protection services, parliamentary protective services, like specials. There's different training and there's different levels and qualifications needed. And so, someone like that, because again, like she's got nothing working for her. She has it doesn't look like there's anything that she's bringing to the table that is a benefit. And so unfortunately I have to agree with him on that. Like, it just really does not make women in the industry look good. Yep.
Just wondering, because I think it's awfully weird. Let me see if we find this other one here. Where did I put that? Oh, I know where it's at. Sorry, it's on my phone. I'm like looking on my computer like I'm going to find it there. You won't find it there. Let's go into photos. And how about the bullet of the picture of the bullet? By the way, I did look into that because I was like, there's no way. There's no way. And I looked into it and I found an article that was talking about it and said, yes, it is possible if these were the settings. However, nobody would ever have those settings if they were taking a picture of the president. Because you have to, I forgot what it is, 1/80,000th or something. Okay, let me move this over to the save, add to share album. I just want to show this picture real quick.
And I will say as well, like, I was the first female in the history of the PPCLI during a time when there was a little bit more pushback. There was no one like fully embracing women, DEI, woke hires when I was fucking going through. I will guarantee you that. And you're in the lion's den. And so unless you're able to prove yourself, not only within your training before you get in, because it's all talked about and assessed, and your instructors and your course officers are people that are within the military too. I'll reiterate that. And they're combat arms. And so they're making their judgments even as early as your training. And so if as a woman, if you're not measuring up or if you're not keeping up, then it makes your, then that's again, used to be where unfortunately you're more targeted, but it's because for a reason. And so my comparison was I've gotten over 12, level 12 on the beep test, 12 and a half actually. And this is actually even recorded. And so, so for women, like unless you can get over 10, I would say on a beep test. I was CISM running, so I was on the National Military Running Team as well. I have fully done even during bodybuilding competitions and stuff like that, just for fun. I've been able to do at least 15 to 16 clean, clear, all the way up, all the way down pull-ups. Okay, not the chin-ups, the easier ones, but the full pull-ups. And squatting and deadlifting, like even on the hack squat, like I have 7 plates per side of 45 pounds. So 14 I've done that. And again, videoed doing that as well. So they're proof of that. And push-ups, counted push-ups, 76 clean ones. Again, where it's military, like prairie staff type people that are counting them. This is not just like random, like poor, shitty push-ups, because I could probably do over 100 of those, or I have. And this is not a brag. This is just to give context of the level of fitness women should have if they're even considering going into a first responder type job. Okay. Like, and then again with and having other competencies, right? So multiple degrees. I was top of academics, and a lot of research and training, I guess you would say, into battle group operations, like strategies, operations, tactics. And you need to be exceptionally fit and exceptionally high functioning as a female in order to do these jobs. And it's not a 9 to 5 like this. Again, even like my fitness had to be on point. My own personal training had to be on point for so many different things. And so if you're not measuring up to those standards, then yeah, you're just a liability.
Okay, and now we got to come up. Let me grab this, and then you tell me what you think here. Come on. All right. So these are the guys I'm talking about. Okay, so this is that red barn that we just were looking at, right? On Google Earth. Just showing you where exactly they were. They're actually looking in the direction that that guy is. Let's press play here.
And you know,
They're actually looking. Now, if I want you to watch something for me, that this guy actually seems scared to hear
Actually,
the shot.
I'm gonna zoom this in.
Like he jerks.
that's a
Watch.
little bit old, that shot. That's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
So we know that he didn't take that shot because he wasn't even looking. Watch again. Watch when the first shot happens and watch this guy's reaction.
Look at what happened.
So he's not shooting the gun. We can hear that the. I mean, what is he doing?
Yeah.
What is going
And
on?
he backs up and he removes his sniper rifle from the platform where it was situated. And anyway,
What is his job? I mean, it just makes no sense at all. Again, you're a Secret Service guy. I mean, do they have a shot of him? They've got him in their specs, and then why is that guy taking?
And you know, that's a little bit old.
Sorry, it's
That
too loud.
shot's a couple of months old. And
Again, he's got somebody in his scope. He's waiting for something.
if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Then he took his eyes
Yep.
off the
and there's no
viewfinder.
muzzle blast, like there's no smoke, there's no anything that's coming out of the sniper rifle. So I'm gonna
And then
say,
here's
I'm
a
gonna also
gunshot.
say that he didn't take the shot. Sorry, I'm watching this with you. I watched a bit of it, but now I wanted to watch real time.
He gets scared. Moves his gun. Moves the whole entire
Moves the
apparatus.
tripod.
Moves the tripod. Watch again.
Holy fuck! Look at this guy.
What is? I mean, that is the most inept garbage I've ever seen. It's just, what is he doing? Again, yeah, there's supposedly two guys here, but again, the shots are happening. He's not even in a position to take a shot. He's moving his tripod.
Yeah, that's definitely weird, and I don't think he fired. This guy looks
Here we
like
go
he's
again.
backing up.
Happened.
3 shots ring out before this guy even has his tripod in a position. Again, one more time. Listen to the 3 shots and watch this guy. No, it wasn't him shooting the gun. What do you mean? He's shooting the gun without looking through the viewfinder? I really doubt that.
Take a look at what
That's
Watch.
I mean,
happened.
like it's been done before when people are high stress, but it doesn't look like it looked like he was actually backing up. It looks like his response was that he was scared. He definitely removed his eyes from the like the sights. He moved the tripod, so and it doesn't look like there was any muzzle blast, any projectile that had been released.
No, he's not. So you're saying he's
Oh, back.
shooting the gun while he's lifting it,
I'll back that up.
moves the tripod. Watch again. What is? I mean, that is the most inept garbage I've ever seen. It's just, what is he doing? Again, yeah, there's supposedly
Down
two
now.
guys here, but again, the shots are happening. He's not even in a position to take a shot. He's moving his tripod. Here we go again.
Happened.
3 shots ring out before this guy even has his tripod in a position. Again, one more time. Listen to the 3 shots and watch this guy. No, it wasn't him shooting the gun. What do you mean? He's shooting the gun without looking through the viewfinder? I really doubt that.
Take a look at what
Watch.
happened.
No, he's not. So you're saying he's shooting the gun while he's lifting it up? Give me a break. Why do you guys even make comments like that? It's not recoil. That's not the guy shooting. It's not the Secret Service shooting. That's the first shots that we hear. So what you're saying is the Secret Service shot the guy and missed, and then the other guy shot back? No. Listen again.
Said, take a look at what happened.
The guy takes 3 shots. They're not even doing anything.
They look like they're backing
They're not
up.
even doing anything. What do you mean? Well, watch the other sniper. So he's shooting, you mean? I'm just talking about this guy. One more time.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that shot. That shot's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
No, I mean,
Wow.
it's so bad. It's so bad. Wait, can you say? Oh, I dropped the camera. I just watched this guy, and you actually see him start crawling down.
Take a look at what happened.
Watch his feet.
Okay,
He's
but
like ducking.
now I'm going to be the devil's advocate because those are 2 white guys. So they should also not be bodyguards or snipers or security details and should be fired.
Now he's like crawling away. It's ridiculous. I hope people understand what I'm saying. I hope even nobody thinks I'm not saying that these guys shot anything. Obviously, they're in terrible position. They're in terrible position. That's not this. They're looking supposedly in the direction of the sniper or the direction of the shooter, right? Hopefully, people understand what I'm saying.
And you know that.
Somebody's saying a cop even climbed the ladder and the shooter saw him and he ducked down. Somebody, I heard that. Doesn't even sound like gunfire. Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, when you're in an area that's like surrounded by echoey stuff, it's hard to tell. Doesn't sound like a
little bit old.
But I just don't understand this guy. He looks like he's got somebody in sight.
Oh my God.
So who's he looking at? Right? So who shot the baddie? Yeah, that's what I don't know. Somebody says looks like recoil. You mean on this guy? Let me see. They shouldn't have. Yeah, I saw that. The guy that shot him was on a BlackRock commercial. But I'm just talking about
I showed that too.
what you would expect from Secret Service. They should be the elite. They should be the best shooters that we have. They should be guys that aren't scared, that aren't frightened, that aren't going to make the moves. This guy is moving his gun. Turn this down a little. It's bugging me.
There should be no DEI hires in first responder type positions. I'm going to reiterate this, and this to me yet again reinforces that.
So listen to the first shot.
Really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Okay, so it wasn't this guy. Now he's moving his gun while the guns are ringing out. Listen. I mean, I don't even know how that could be. It doesn't even make any sense. What was in Trump's shoes? And actually one was left there before. I've been shot at before. Yes, neither are recoil. The barrels go down, not up. Yeah, I don't think it's recoil. I don't think it's recoil at all. I think that should tell you all you need to know about the event.
Recoil does not mean that the firearm muzzle goes downwards. It can absolutely go upwards. Like you've seen that in like videos as well, right? When people don't have proper control of like a shotgun or like a higher caliber weapon, not properly seated, where it friggin' like comes out of their hands. And so, anyways, I'm not disputing. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that.
It should tell you everything because it told me. I said, wait a second. We've got these inept Secret Service guys. We've got a guy who's on a roof for 3 or 4 minutes, people pointing out to the police. Nobody's taking Trump off stage. So whether you want to believe it's a complete and total hoax, which that's up to you. I certainly know there's something funky about it, and I'll just leave it there. I'll say, well, something was going wrong. I mean, something clearly is up here, right? Somebody says it does look like recoil to him. Effed up world. So I guess I don't understand what you mean by recoil. So you mean he took one shot and the gun stop that. Let me see.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what
he takes his eyes off, and then you're saying he shoots from there?
happened.
No way. No way.
If this
Watch
freaking
again.
post wasn't in the way, we could get a better like assessment of like the muscle blast. Anyway,
He actually lifts his head up from the gun,
Take a look at what
lifts it up, then he hears a shot,
happened.
then he goes back down. Now he's like moving his gun, moving the tripod. It's hilarious. It's so funny. It's impossible. It's just not what you would expect. And again, you might say, well, what difference does it make what we expect? Well, if we can't expect the
expected.
Secret Service to be pretty much the elite
And you know that
sharpshooters, I mean, look at this guy. I don't even understand what he's doing to move his tripod like that. Okay, I've got him in my sights. Oh, shit. Oh, I got to move it over here. Oh, I got to move it over here. Oh, that's real good. That's real good. And I don't know if anybody's seen a better video of that. I'm sure there will be. I have seen the videos of the guy in the crowd that got shot and seeing him all bloody. But again, doesn't mean that Vince McMahon was the shooter. Yes, it was Vince. And then what Trump did is he challenged him to a cage match at SummerSlam. Who filmed this? Trump off center, zooming in on the snipers at T0. Well, we don't know that that's the case either. I mean, if I took this video, I could take it home and then zoom in at that time. We don't know that this is the original video. That would be an assumption. But what are you saying? So this is just somebody in the crowd. If I was sitting here in the crowd, that's pretty interesting. You got
a comment was made about like back in the day, like being able to like a man saying this, but like being able to beat me like in general, but like maybe not in push-ups. I totally agree with that. Men are inherently, the majority of men are stronger than women. And that's why if you can't have that advantage, you have to really work on your fitness. You have to be next level for a woman, but there's also other stuff that you also need to bring to the table, not just your weaknesses, right? There's other things that you have to do. And yeah, like I have no qualms with admitting that I am not as strong as most men, even with all my training and my fitness and stuff like that. If it came down to a fight. However, I will say that I'm a use of force instructor. I do have MMA experience. I've done one-on-one with like a professional MMA fighter. And yeah, and I've got like the kickboxing, karate, the taibo. Like I was varsity taekwondo for a bit. Yeah, so I have fighting experience, and I'm still cognizant of the fact that I absolutely would have to attempt to disengage from a man, try not to get struck, and then disengage, and fully admit that. And again, it depends on the situation, right? If I'm working, then that's not the intent. But if it was for like my own, like if I was out, like on my own personal time or whatever, and whatever happened, then I would absolutely want to just disengage, de-escalate via verbal communication, tactical communication, whatever, and then not put myself in a situation where I'm having to go head to head with a fucking grown ass man, especially if he's in the same industry as me, or he has training and is fit and has like fighting experience and stuff like that as well, right? Like, because then my tactical advantage is gone, if that makes any sense. And yeah.
Those two guys up there looking through their long rifles at somebody just seems weird. But again, they're not good. I can't stand that. Keeps going on.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look what happened.
And this guy right here looks very confused and scared. They both flinched. Very weird to me. Very weird. Let's see. Show us a video of an amateur glurf in a plane recording. What? Okay, that's funny. No one did anything. This is all theater. So funny. Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, no one did anything. That's what I'm showing you. Those guys certainly didn't take anybody out, or even, I don't know, why were they looking in that direction? If somebody told them that somebody was up there, wouldn't you just take the president off the stage? The picture of the bullet is hilarious. We're talking about funny things. Just trying to see, where did I go with the Sand Safari? I just want to see that article so I can read it to you. I did tweet today that I thought, who should be in charge of this investigation? If we want to get to the bottom of it, we should call the Maui police chief, John Pelletier.
Oh my God.
What do you guys think? Somebody should give him a call. He did so well in Vegas.
Yeah.
Then he was definitely the best person for Maui. I say he should be doing the investigation here. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, all right.
Can you imagine?
Oh yeah, I was going to check that
I wouldn't even
article
be surprised.
just to read it. Okay, one more back. Yeah, photo appears to capture the path of a bullet. And everywhere it's just saying it's real, stunning photo, great photo. But then I saw that it basically said, I don't remember the exact numbers. It was like, whatever it was something you would never do unless you were trying to take a photo of a bullet. And this was like a photo website that was talking about it, who just said to get a photo of a bullet like that, you could do it, but you have to set your camera to this, which is possible. However, a cameraman sitting in front of the president would never have their camera set to that setting. It's way too fast of a shutter speed. But it is possible. Again, if that person knew a bullet was coming, then they could get a picture of it. So it's up to you whether you want to believe that or not. For me, I say no. If the chemtrail in the background probably makes more sense. So anyway, that is the Operation Donald Duck. But that's where I'll leave it. I don't think there's really much use in spending any more time on it. No.
That was incredible. Honestly, I'm going to stop sharing this because I want to see if I can get back to the Jesus Christ never existed, going on a completely unrelated topic. But when that, I've been trying to finish this video for a while now, and so I'm hoping that it lands. Actually, maybe I'll rewind it a little bit.
At the University of Manchester in England. In his article, Sybil and Christ, Dr. Fear tells us that Addis was killed and then raised from the dead 3 days later during a celebration that depicted him being resurrected out of a tomb, basically at Easter time, precisely as was said of Christ. Also, the idea of the Indian god Krishna's mother being a virgin is not widely known and is therefore said to be wrong. First of all, the virgin birth motif is specifically stated by ancient writers like Philo of Alexandria to be a mystery, as was the goddess who gave birth to a god and yet remained an eternal virgin. And this fact of secrecy explains why these themes are not found all over the place in writing. I have written extensively about Krishna's mother in Sons of God and elsewhere. In my books, The Christ Conspiracy and Sons of God, I also discuss in detail the gods Dionysus and Mithra, who were likewise brought up in Zeitgeist Part 1. Concerning other themes in Zeitgeist, there are many good books on the subject of Old Testament myths, and my book, Who Was Jesus?, goes into greater detail regarding the Joseph-Jesus parallels, as well as the lack of evidence for the historical Jesus. We should keep in mind that shouts for primary sources serve to remind us that Christians went on a rampage to censor and obliterate everything outside of their faith. In fact, these censors destroyed a huge amount of the type of evidence that we're discussing here. One straw man argument raised by debunkers concerns the December 25th birth date of various gods, which apologists dismiss by claiming
Oh no.
Dionysus and
There we
Mithra,
go.
who were likewise brought up in Zeitgeist Part 1. Concerning other themes in Zeitgeist, there are many good books on the subject of Old Testament myths, and my book, Who Was Jesus?, goes into greater detail regarding the Joseph-Jesus parallels,
Yes,
as well as the lack of evidence for the historical Jesus. We should keep in mind that shouts for primary sources serve to remind us that Christians went on a rampage to censor and obliterate everything outside of their faith. In fact, these censors destroyed a huge amount of the type of evidence that we're discussing here. One straw man argument raised by debunkers concerns the December 25th birth date of various gods, which apologists dismiss by claiming Jesus wasn't really born at that time. However, since the 4th century, when the
24th or the 25th, depending if it's a leap year versus a non-leap year, and so I've said this before, but fun fact: if you conceive or have sex on the 19th or 20th of March, depending if it's a leap year or non-leap year, your due date would be on the 24th or 25th of December as well. And so this is also why I believe that there's connection between humans and a connection with the luminaries and the creator or creators, Jesus Christ being a representation of the sun. And so on the 21st, during a non-leap year, there is the winter solstice, and that's when the sun is at 23.4 degrees south latitude, so the furthest south it is on its path, above us, more localized within the firmament, in my humble opinion. And for 3.5 days or 3 days, it appears to rise and set at the lowest point in the sky at that location for 3 days, and then rises again, or starts its ascent again, or its rebirth from the lowest point on the 24th or 25th of December, again, depending on if it's a leap year versus a non-leap year. And then we start going from having like the shortest days, longest nights during that period, to starting again having longer days. It starts slow, and then till we get to the point again of the spring solstice on or around the 20th of March of every single year, and where we have equal amount of day and night, where the sun is traveling on the equatorial ring or circle, and then it goes heads towards the furthest northern latitude, 23.4 degrees during the summer solstice, etc. And this is predictable every single year, every single day and every single year.
this winter solstice celebration was designated as Christ's birthday, hundreds of millions of people have been taught that December 25th is the date of Christ's birth, and hundreds of millions continue to celebrate that date every year. Indeed, Christian preachers today still insist that Jesus Christ is the, quote, reason for the season, unquote. Furthermore, in 2007, the United States House of Representatives passed House Resolution 847, officially declaring December 25th to be the birthday of Jesus Christ. Raising up this issue of the birthday of the sun, S-U-N, is therefore entirely legitimate. But this assertion that Jesus was not born on December 25th merely proves our point that he is not the reason for the season. Another fallacy concerns the three kings comparison, which is dismissed by apologists because nowhere in the New Testament does it mention a number for the wise men who brought gifts to the Christ child. While it is true that the wise men, magi, or kings are not numbered in the New Testament, their gifts are numbered as three at Matthew 2:11: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Also, Christian tradition follows Matthew's suit by numbering the wise men as well, which is why we have a famous Christmas song called "We Three Kings." Christian tradition also calls the three king stars in the constellation of Orion the Magi. Much more about all these subjects can be found in my books.
Julius Caesar, in the century before Jesus, was declared to have been born of a virgin by a vote of the Roman Senate in order to make him a god able to compete with other pagan gods. It is easy to prove that the earliest Christians knew the Jesus tale was fictional, that Jesus was a metaphor for the sun, and that the basis for the story was astrology. Saint Athanasius, Bishop of Alexandria, wrote, "Should we understand sacred writ according to the letter, we should fall into the most enormous blasphemies." Early converts to Christianity were forced to recite a curse that Jesus was not the Son. The therapeutes are noted by, among others, the Jewish historian Philo. Philo said they worshiped the sun. Possibly a therapeutin himself, Philo wrote of the trial and crucifixion of a suffering servant, but he does not mention Christ or Christianity in connection with these events. Instead, Philo's work was later adapted for the initial creation of the mythical Christ figure. The therapeutes were an ancient network of religious brotherhoods. They eventually became known as the Gnostics. The 4th century AD Christian historian Eusebius admitted that the therapeutes were the same as the Gnostics. Eusebius also drew a clear distinction between the therapeutes and the Jewish Essenes. St. Paul called himself a deacon, which is a rank of the therapeutes, and Luke is made to be a physician, another way therapeutes referred to themselves. The Therapeutin mystery schools link Britain and Europe through Palestine to India and then all the way to China. Their main school was associated with the Great Library in Alexandria, Egypt. All the solar hero and savior god myths based on the earlier sun god worship emerged along this same route. As the age of Pisces dawned, these mystery schools were called Christ schools. Modern scholars prefer to call them Jesus schools, even though it is documented that in addition to Jesus, they produced different gods in different regions. These were to be the new savior gods for the age of Pisces. Why would some of these Christ schools decide to turn the obviously mythical Jesus into a historical character? The answer lies in Israel during what is called the Messianic Age and a conflict between two Jewish sects. Over several centuries, the Gnostic Samaritan priesthood began competing with the Hebraic Judeans. This resulted in the fabrication of a historical Jesus, and the Judeans being scapegoated for his murder. Christians, Jews, and Islamists all consider themselves children of the Jewish patriarch Abraham. But the well-hidden fact is that this monotheism does not go back forever and ever, and that the Jewish god Yahweh was originally one of a pantheon of gods. Until recently, biblical archaeology in the Holy Land was deliberately confined to producing only what might confirm the Bible and hiding the rest. But unavoidable discoveries like the Dead Sea Scrolls have opened the floodgates. Archaeologists are even finding physical evidence proving that Israelites originally worshiped Yahweh along with a wife or consort. Proof that the people of Israel once worshipped their own pantheon of gods is contained in the Bible itself. The biblical words Elohim, Baalim, and Adonai refer to plural gods, no matter how many religious translators try to hide them behind a singular word, Lord. The pantheists were strongest in the northern kingdom of Israel and became known as Israelites. There were a number of gods and goddesses in this pantheon. One of the gods was named Shaddai. The 6th chapter of Exodus is used to replace the god Shaddai with the later god Yahweh. The Baal gods mentioned in the Old Testament were worshipped by some of the Israelites. In this passage at Hosea 2:16, the Old Testament writers forcibly changed Baal worship to Yahweh worship. The most high god of the Elohim was El Elyon, or the sun. Among the Israelites, his priesthood was called the Order of Melchizedek. These priests worshipped other gods descended from Elyon, including a god called Moloch, who for a time was considered the same as Yahweh. Moloch worship included human sacrifice, which survived in parts of Israel until it was finally banned under the Roman Emperor Hadrian. Christianity really only began to take hold when it made inroads on the Roman aristocracy. The Emperor Constantine saw the benefit of monotheism and consolidated the Roman Empire under Christianity at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, one of the first attempts to merge the many different Christian sects with the many pagan religions of the time. Despite this, Constantine himself remained a follower of Sol Invictus, or the sun, although it's claimed he converted to Christianity on his deathbed. From Constantine onward, remnants of Gnostic Christianity were driven underground. The new Orthodox Christianity was propagated across Europe and Asia Minor by the sword. In 391 AD, the Great Library at Alexandria was destroyed by the Christian leaders in order to erase Christianity's origins. This was also the beginning of the Christian forgeries and alteration of historical texts, which had come under total church control. Pagan holidays became Christian holidays. Christian churches were built on the sites of pagan temples. Vatican Hill belonged to the god Mithra until 376 AD, when a city prefect suppressed the cult of the rival savior Mithra and seized the shrine in the name of Christ. The Archbishop Chrysostom boasted of this destruction. Some of the Gnostics were bribed into the Orthodoxy with invitations to high positions in the new church. St. Augustine was originally a pagan who converted after the councils in Nicaea.
It's also Solomon's seal, and yeah.
Finally came the notorious Inquisitions beginning in 1184 AD.
So the hexagon and the pentagram.
There is no historical mention of any of the holy sites in Jerusalem being Christian before 326 AD, when the Roman Emperor Constantine sent the Christian bishops and his own mother Helena to the Holy Land to find, or as it turned out, invent, the sites described in the New Testament. That these holy sites are of much later date can be proved by examining the writings of the earliest Christians. No early Christian writer states a desire to visit Jesus' hometown of Nazareth or any place that Jesus preached. No early writer longs to see Calvary or the tomb where Jesus miraculously rose from the dead. After the sacking of Rome in 410 AD, the Catholic Church gradually assumed total secular power. The power of the church became equal to or even above the power of royal families. During this time, the average Christian was not allowed to even read the Bible on paper original Latin and pass their version of the word on to the Christian followers in the form of sermons. This lasted until the 16th century AD and the Protestant Reformation, when anti-Catholic Christians risked their lives and began printing the Bible in common tongues such as English and German. It was only then, well over 1,000 years after the supposed crucifixion of Jesus, that the many discrepancies in the Bible began to be recognized.
We don't want to be unkind, but we want to be factual. We don't want to cause hurt feelings, but we want to be academically correct in what we understand and know to be true. Christianity just is not based on truth. We find that Christianity was in fact nothing more than a Roman story developed politically.
The reality is, Jesus was the solar deity of the Gnostic Christian sect. And like all other pagan gods, he was a mythical figure. It was the political establishment that sought to historize the Jesus figure for social control. In 325 AD in Rome, Emperor Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea. It was during this meeting that the politically motivated Christian doctrines were established. And thus began a long history of religious bloodshed and spiritual fraud. And for over the next 1,000 years, the Vatican maintained a political stranglehold on all of Europe, leading to such joyous periods as the Dark Ages, along with enlightening events such as the Crusades and the Inquisition. Christianity, along with all other related theologies, is an historical fraud. These religions now serve to detach the species from the natural world, and likewise each other. They support blind submission to authority. They reduce human responsibility to the effect that God controls everything, and in turn, awful crimes can be justified in the name of a divine pursuit. And, most critically, it empowers the political establishment who have been using the myth to manipulate and control societies.
Now, Dr. Lawrence Buck in Mystic Masonry, he also talks about Christianity's hidden traditions. He says there was always an exoteric portion given out to the world, to the uninitiated, and an esoteric portion reserved for initiates that was revealed only in degrees, accordingly as the candidate demonstrated his fitness to receive, conceal, and rightly use the knowledge so imparted. Few professed Christians are aware, perhaps, that such was the case with Christianity during the earliest centuries. And Saint Gregory, that's the Bishop of Constantinople in 540 to 604 AD, said, "You have heard as much of the mystery as we are allowed to speak openly in the ears of all. The rest will be communicated to you in private, and that you must retain within yourself. Our mysteries are not to be made known to strangers." One of the greatest personalities within the Jewish culture and tradition and religion is Rabbi Moses Maimonides, and he says, "Every time that you find in our books a tale, the reality of which seems impossible, a story that is repugnant to both reason and common sense, then be sure that the tale contains a profound allegory veiling a deep mysterious truth, and the greater the absurdity of the letter, the deeper the wisdom of spirit. Whoever shall find out the true sense of the book of Genesis ought to take care not to divulge it. If a person should discover the true meaning of it by himself or by the aid of another, then he ought to be silent. For if he speaks, he ought to speak of it only obscurely, in an enigmatical manner, as I do myself." So just know at this stage that if you're a well-meaning Christian who has been following this particular paradigm, understand that there is a hierarchy involved here, and that it's not an egalitarian process, this game of religion. You're being told only what you need to know. From their own words, from the horse's mouth, you have it, that there is an esoteric and an exoteric tradition here. And you may not be privy to that. You may not have earned that right. So be very careful then when you say that what you know here is the whole truth. Because those who are telling you to say that, and those who are giving you this information, they may know something more, something that you don't know. The Manichaeans, a 3rd century Christian sect, we have a statement from them. The Christ, or the Christ, is the glorious intelligence, which the Persians called Mithras. His residence is the sun. The word pastor, master, minister, ceremony, deacon, cardinal, sexton, the word nun and the word monk or monsignor, monastery, all come from these ancient cults. We talk about a monastery. That's where monks and religious people will go. But what does the word monastery mean? Mon is moon and stir is the stars. The place of the meeting of the moon and the stars, a monastery. But you try going in there and going, hey, do you guys practice astrology? They're liable to sprinkle holy water on you, tell you to get thee hence. What they don't tell you is that a deacon, which is a clerical duty, deacon comes from the word decan, D-E-C-A-N, which is a division of the zodiac into 10 degrees. The decans, the deacanates.
Yep.
They don't tell you that a sexton comes from the word sextant, which is a navigator's tool. To do what? Measure the stars. A minister is a moon and a star. Mr. Minister is literally saying the man of the moon and the stars. The Son of God as the sun above us in the heavens. Jordan Maxwell, an ancient belief system, says, if one also replaces the word sun, S-O-N, with the word sun, S-U-N, wherever the former is found in the Bible, it will be discovered that every single verse fits the literal sun and not a man. In fact, the verses make better sense. That's right. Every time you see the word Son of God or the word Jesus, just in your mind, put there the word S-U-N and think of the sun. And suddenly the Bible will come alive. And every passage not only fits, but makes better sense than if it was a biography. And that is how the mythographers who've painted the image of Jesus are showing you. The rays of the sun, the red cross of the equinox, standing on the clouds, haloed with the sun and the cross of the zodiac. The light of the world.
Yep.
Behold, he cometh with clouds, says Revelation 1. Yes, the sun does come with clouds. The Christians to this day in the churches raise their arms, and the old symbol of the Ka. Open any book on Egyptian mythology and look, and you'll see the gods raising their arms, and that is known as the Ka, the K-A. When you raise your arms like that to symbolize the soul. But just on the most primitive level, just observe the artwork. Just look at the imagery that is being shown to you. The Christ haloed with light. Our Father who art in heaven. We end our prayers with Amen, which literally meant the Son God. The words of Jesus in Revelation 22, I am the root and offspring of David and the bright and morning star. Jordan Maxwell has pointed out many times that many of the patriarchs also correspond to the sun. Solomon, the name of Solomon is actually made up of 3 phonemes, 3 syllables that mean the name of the sun in the 3 ancient languages of the world. Sol is the Anglo-Saxon for sun, Om is the Hindu, and On is the Egyptian. So Solomon is nothing but the sun. There's no biographical character. You're not going to find him. You're not going to dig him up. He doesn't exist. Sol Amon, like Jesus Christ, is the sun. And everything that you're reading about that Solomon is getting involved in is not a biography of a man, but a mythology of a sun. Same thing for Hercules and many of the other gods of the ancient world. Now, the name that is given to Jesus Christ at his birth is Emmanuel, but that is the same thing. That comes from Omonael, Om, On, and El. They don't even hide it. The Renaissance artists drew on this canon. Above the cross of Jesus, you have the sun and the moon, pagan motifs. Now, the dramatis personae of the Old Testament are not biographical characters. Abraham, Jacob, Moses, Solomon, David, Samson, Joseph, Daniel, Jesus, and all the other patriarchs originally symbolized alignments and conjunctions between the planets and the luminaries. Their many wives, their sons and daughters simply represent degrees and minutes of zodiacal arc. So that's right. When we read about these patriarchs, and their wives and their many sons and daughters, let us understand that this is another coding system. Everybody's running around trying to find how to break the code of the Bible, and yet these most important codes, nobody pays the slightest attention to. These patriarchs, nobody's ever found any history of them, that they ever even existed. And we're not going to be able to decode this Bible until we understand how it works. So at this stage of our program, it is not outside the bounds of reason, after what we've been showing, that we have to understand that the Gospels are not a biography. The Bible was and is nothing more, nothing less than an astrotheological story, a sidereal myth. I believe that the writers of the Bible knew that. They had no intention of ever presenting it as anything else. And they would have been astounded that modern generations would actually think that it was a biography. Because if you were actually trying to create a biography, you would have done a much better job than the one that we have coming down to us. Even with all the machinations and throwing away and burning of other books, you still would have made it look more officially like a biography if that had been your intention. But the allegorists of the ancient world knew that everyone knows that this is a fable, a story. They would have not been able to even comprehend how this literally would have been taken so literally, and that the real, pure, beautiful, intriguing, and mysterious meaning of it would just have been thrown out. Now, the early church fathers prohibited astrology, and the Council of Toledo banned it forever. Nevertheless, 600 years later, the dates of the Pope's coronation were determined by the zodiac. The church hierarchy employed their own astrologers, and signs of the zodiac appeared all over the church furnishings, tiles, doorways, manuscripts, and baptismal fonts. But let us turn now to something more sane. What is the message and the myth and the man? We have this incredible story. What can really be gleaned from it? We've understood all its distortions. We've understood something about its origins. But can anything be gleaned from this?
Okay, so it's that was a great video. I want to get into True World Flat Earth documentary, ODD TV. I was going to share a longer one from him. I still might at some point, and then in this coming week. This video is 8 years old. I want to say, yeah, it's 8 years old. Long time.
Into bondage, born into a prison for your mind.
Buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas.
I was gonna share, I'm gonna share it. Ugh, I didn't want to share it because it's probably propaganda, and but I'm tracking this as well. So if anyone wants to ask me if I've seen this, yes, I have. Trump shooting hoax, evidence of pre-planning. This is from Free Your Mind. I saw this the other day, and this is a possible, they're saying is a prediction that was made a few months ago by this guy. Again, I don't buy into prophecy like this, where you can be so accurate with things. And so
trying to reform America again, bringing back America. Because the Lord told me, he said, I am not done with America. Amen. He said, there's going to be a new wave of patriotism coming out. And that's whenever I saw Trump, and I saw a red wave coming out of Michigan. And then I saw Oklahoma, and there was embers of people, and they were all on they had torches all throughout Oklahoma, and they were raising up these torches that looked like fire, and they were bringing forth a new patriotism upon the nation. And it was being birthed, and it just kept spreading like fire all throughout America, all throughout. And I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking, people say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming.
So that's been circling around. I don't buy into that whole propaganda piece as much as a lot of other people are. But anyway, I just want to share it just to show that, yes,
it's going bye-bye.
You'll want to remember this moment as the last time you thought the flat earth was stupid.
Hello, everyone. This is ODD, and yes, I'm finally admitting that even though I don't like labels, I'm a flat earther. Based on my research for the past 10 months, our world is very different from the model that we are being taught by the authority on the matter. It took me a while to come to terms with this, and it took even longer to gain the courage to talk about it. It can be pretty embarrassing to go against popular opinion, but this is real. It's not a psyop, it's not a distraction, and it's not a bandwagon. It's a reasonable debate. It's thousands of people taking what we've been told and comparing it to what we see and experience, only to find out that they do not match up. Once you start digging into this, it becomes clear that there is no evidence for the speculated spinning ball that we supposedly live on, and everything points to a flat Earth. The flat Earth is much more than just reasonable. The one and only reason that it's reasonable to argue against the flat Earth is that we've all been taught otherwise our whole lives. We blindly believe something that A, has never been proven, and B, is pretty much fucking impossible. Thanks to people like Eric Dubay, the flat Earth has re-emerged and it has more steam than ever. Before I've ever even entertained the flat Earth, I knew not to trust the space programs of the world. Close examinations of NASA and other space programs reveal that things aren't what they seem and that we, the people, are being lied to. We have no real pictures of the Earth, and no matter how hard we try, we just can't find the curvature. Not only that, but flight paths make more sense on a flat map, and large bodies of water not being able to curve into a giant ball completely resonates.
Forensically speaking, the globe model is so very unlikely that any good detective wouldn't believe a fucking word the globe says. The globe story is so full of circumstantial, impossible coincidences, which only prove that the globe is a fucking liar.
We'll be going over that in this video, as well as other reasons why the world isn't what we're led to believe. I appreciate you tuning in. Let's get started. Our daily observations of the Earth are consistent with the flat and stationary surface. Most, if not all, ancient civilizations knew that the Earth was flat. The people of today would say that ancient cultures were ignorant and unaware, yet they accomplished great feats that we still can't accomplish to this day. The truth is that they had real knowledge, and some of us only have an education. But what is an education? Education is when you are told what to think and how to think. Those that are able to remember and regurgitate what they've been told on command are considered well educated. But there is a big difference between being educated and being intelligent. Just because you believe what you've been told doesn't make it true. In fact, the flat versus spherical Earth is a debate that has never really died. It's been raging for centuries. It was a huge argument as recently as the early and mid-1900s, but with programs like NASA, founded in 1958, the latter half of the 20th century was a win for the spherical Earth. It wasn't a question for the average person anymore. Though at the time the shape of the Earth was still up to be proven, NASA claims that they went to the moon and captured a shot of the spherical Earth as if they always knew it was indeed spherical.
Those of you who think this technical difficulty was planned and think I'm scamming you, go do it for yourself. Because you're going to find the exact same thing. I got nothing to hide here. This is live on the air, okay? I'm going to zoom in on the Earth in Photoshop. Can you see the Earth? To image, adjust, levels, and I'm going to bring the levels over here. And I'm going to bring the levels up. Uh-oh. What is that? Why is there a square box around the Earth allegedly taken from the scientists on the moon in Apollo 17?
The voice you hear is Rob Skiba. Rest in peace. He just recently died. I believe very much large responsibility goes on the medical staff that were treating him during COVID. Fucking crimes against humanity. Anyways, his wife talks about it. Other people talk about it. Anyway, take a look at his work.
And people wonder why I don't trust NASA. That's why I don't trust NASA. I mean, they're always out there saying, you know, Rob, everybody's trying to show you stuff from space, and you keep rejecting it. This is why I reject it. These guys are liars. You know.
What are some of the basic observations someone can make to ascertain that the Earth is neither a globe or spinning?
We've been taught that we're on a ball spinning around the sun. And so to hear that you might be on a flat plane, motionless at the center of the universe with all the celestial bodies spinning around you, just as it appears, actually comes as a surprise. But it shouldn't, because our eyes, experience, and common sense all tell us that the horizon is perfectly flat and we feel motionless. We don't hear ourselves whizzing by at thousands of miles per hour. No matter how high amateur rockets or balloons have gone up, the horizon rises to the eye of the observer all the way up, and that's only consistent with a flat plane. Their theory just gets more and more wild as time has gone on. And so, yeah, it began with the spinning Earth going 1,000 miles per hour, which is then circling around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, which then they decided the sun wasn't a heliocentric model, but more of an acentric model, where they don't know where the center is, and we're just exploding out of a big bang. So the sun, we're spinning around the sun, and then the sun and us are spinning around the Milky Way galaxy, they say, at 500,000 miles per hour. And then the entire Milky Way galaxy, they say, is shooting off from the Big Bang at 670 million miles per hour, almost the speed of light. So there's at least 4 rip-raging, contradictory motions supposedly going at all times, yet you don't experience any of it, nor can you measure any of it using the stars. The flat motionless Earth is not only is it the greatest conspiracy of all, it's also the easiest to prove. I mean, it just is flat and motionless, just as it appears. Look into it more and more, make it a thing to try and debunk it, if you will. You know, even if you want to do it that way. Negative reinforcement works too. Try as you will, you're only going to find proofs for the flat motionless Earth. You're not going to confirm that you're on a spinning ball.
The curvature of the Earth eludes us. Either the Earth is much larger in circumference than we are told, or the curve just doesn't exist. People assume that there is a curve, but it's never really been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Cameras with fisheye lenses, Hollywood movies, and NASA CGI are the closest we get to seeing curvature.
The deception and the lies are just so pervasive, and they're just so deep that I swear it gives me a headache.
The surface of water is always level. This is just natural physics. We know this, that water, if unobstructed and uncontained, will flow outwards, finding the easiest course to maintain its own level, right? So, but the Ball Earth model claims that the oceans are huge 100-mile walls of curved water curving around the ball. That's ridiculous. They say that gravity makes this possible, but you don't see that. You go to the beach, you see completely flat horizon, you see water just ever so gently coming up on the shore.
So there's the pretty blue marble that NASA claims we are living on, with circumference of 24,901 and 3959 radius. So to find the curvature, you take 8 inches times your distance squared. That's 8 inches times your distance squared, and if you don't square the distance, you end up with this, and this is not what NASA has shown us. They have given us a beautiful blue marble that we love. So you get 8 inches for 1 mile, 32 inches in 2 miles, 16.6 feet with 5 miles, so on and so forth. So what I did is I shot this pier, which is in Daytona Beach, Florida. And as you can see, between the water and the walkway of the pier is about 12 to 16 feet based on the height of the people and the railing. So I started at Granada, which is 4.92 miles away, and I shot this, and based on that distance and the formula, there should be 16 feet of curvature, but obviously you can still see the entire gap under the walkway there between that and the water. So in addition to that, behind that pier is actually a lighthouse, which you can see right above the pier. You can see the light. That is 16 miles away from my location, and I shot that lighthouse. Now that lighthouse is 175 feet tall, and the curvature from 16 miles away should be 170 feet. You can clearly see about the entire lighthouse beyond that pier. So like I said, there should be 170 feet of curvature, but there's none. And those hotels there are even further. Those are in New Smyrna, which is 20 miles. If NASA is right and there is we do live on a ball, they're going to have to make up that curvature. If it's not in the 20 miles I'm shooting, well, then that means it's got to be made up further on down the line. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say we live on this ball and then say, oh, you can't detect the curvature. Well, you got to detect it somewhere, because if it's not dropping here, it's going to have to drop even more down the lines in order to make that circle, that ball they say we live on. And it's pretty round. That blue marble they give us is perfectly round.
Lighthouses are one great example. The Isle of Wight Lighthouse in England, it's 180 feet high and can be seen up to 42 miles away, a distance at which modern astronomers say the light should fall 996 feet below the line of sight. Why can you still see it? Another one worth mentioning that people be familiar with is the Statue of Liberty. It stands 326 feet above sea level and on a clear day can be seen as far as 60 miles away. Now, if the Earth was a globe at the dimensions that they give us, that would put Lady Liberty at an impossible 2,074 feet below the horizon.
No, not one picture of the Earth. Imagine that. 2016, and we still don't have a picture of our home. Thousands of satellites supposedly orbiting the Earth. Why can't we get thousands of pictures? One shot with the whole Earth in it. Hell, we should have a channel on cable that shows the Earth rotating 24 hours a day, every day. Nope. Let's listen to NASA's very own Robert Simon talk about how we get our fake pictures of Earth.
In 1972, we saw our home in a new way. Apollo 17 astronauts snapped this picture.
It gave people the first look at their home planet as a single entity.
Last week, scientists at NASA released this. The shot is compiled from data from NASA's VIIRS instrument, which orbits the Earth about every 100 minutes, taking measurements of light coming off the planet. That can be translated into ribbons of imagery like this, and then into one of these. And this is just the latest in NASA's Earth from Space album, which may be one of the most mind-expanding collections of images in human history. And then in 2002, Blue Marble 2.0. NASA's Rob Simon made this. Simon's job is...
It's primarily taking data and making pictures out of it.
That's what this is. A composite of data sets from several different instruments translated into a picture.
So we actually had to take clouds out.
They stashed the clouds for later and went onto the ocean. That came from an instrument that measures phytoplankton in the sea.
Where it was low, I colored it dark blue because they're low mostly in mid-oceans. And then where it's a little bit higher, it was like a little bit brighter green.
Then add the clouds back in.
There's a small problem with it because there's a very slight gap in between each orbit.
So some of those are painted on.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Then
there was another layer to sort of simulate the atmosphere.
And then there's this little bright spot.
It's called the specular highlight. So it's the reflection of sunlight off of water.
Those are the pieces, but you can't just slap them all together.
It just didn't look realistic. It looks kind of flat, or the clouds are sort of too see-through. So I just hit Command Z a lot.
There's artistry to creating the world.
What I imagine it to be. Unfortunately, I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to space. But I've looked at these images over and over again, trying to sort of get the essence of it. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Excuse me, I'm allergic to bullshit. Not having one authentic picture of the Earth alone is a huge red flag.
Christoph, let me ask you, why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
The flat Earth model is a working model. It's by no means definitive due to the nature of this massive cover-up. For the past 500 years, we've been completely buying into the Copernicus heliocentric model. But what we do know about the flat Earth is based on the azimuthal equidistant map that seems to be working out. This map goes as far back as the year 1000 and possibly earlier, now used as an official map by the U.S. Geological Survey and also as the official logo for the United Nations. Is this our real home being hidden from us in plain sight? I think it is. The first thing a lot of people say is, where's the edge? Well, look at this map where Antarctica is a 360-degree ice barrier that holds the water in. These ice walls are real, and they stand 150 feet above the surface of the water. Then you need to understand that there is no independent access to Antarctica. Average people can only go there on a guided tour. It has no towns, no cities, and no permanent residences. What's past the 150-foot ice wall is anyone's guess. How far the ice extends, how it terminates, and what exists beyond it. The Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1959 by 12 nations and more later on, states that Antarctica is for peaceful purposes only. No military activities, just scientific research and government exploration. Expeditions by any party must be discussed in advance. It's the longest and most successful treaty between nations. The treaty also states that there are ships, stations, and equipment to ensure compliance of the treaty. Sounds like military activity to me. Anyway, so this azimuthal equidistant map appears to be correct for the most part. Over the centuries, there's been other maps that look pretty close to it as well. Let's look at an interesting story that was recently in the news that supports this flat map. A woman gave birth on a flight from Bali to Los Angeles, so the flight made an emergency landing in Alaska. Here's what it would look like on a globe. Now, here's what it would look like on a flat Earth. Which one makes more sense? Exactly. A big issue I was having with the flat Earth for the longest time was the sunrise and sunsets. I realized that it was a perspective issue. First, you must understand that the sun is not 93 million miles away. If it was, we would never see anything like this here. This is concentrated because it's closer. It's much more probable that the sun is only a few thousand miles away and that it's the same size as the moon. Once you comprehend this, all of the sudden, solar eclipses make sense. Holy fucking shit! Something that makes sense! Okay, so the sun is close, which gives it the ability to spotlight the area that it's over, and when it leaves your view, due to perspective, it takes the light with it. There is a generous amount of light where the sun is at, but since it's so close, it doesn't spread its light like it would if it were bigger and further. The sun circumnavigates the Earth like a huge clockwork. Sometimes that takes a while to sink in. All right, let's talk about the Coriolis effect. The Coriolis effect states that when a moving object leaves the ground, the Earth continues to rotate, meaning that when shooting a gun at a certain distance, the bullet would be a little off due to the Earth's rotation. If that's the case, then airplanes would have to account for the Coriolis effect, but they don't. This is only a few things that work better on a flat, motionless Earth. Do you need 100 excuses as to why you're not feeling any motion or seeing any curvature? Are those excuses easier to believe? Or is it easier to use Occam's razor and go with what our senses are telling us? The Earth is flat and not spinning.
Now, real quick, let's kind of just explain the Coriolis effect in layman's terms. The Coriolis effect is the effect that when the bullet leaves the barrel of the gun, it is actually leaving the surface of the Earth. So as the bullet leaves the barrel of the gun, the Earth is still rotating, and the bullet is not rotating with the Earth. So the Earth will actually rotate out from underneath of the bullet while it is in flight.
still here. Antarctica is not a continent. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a some kind of perimeter, possibly, like maybe not fully connected. Like, but got these things about the Lion's Gate routes and other areas, you know, whether people found other land, possibly the Iron Republic and Smoky God, or possible accounts of extra land outside. And Antarctica, fun fact, is the only flag that has like the shape of a continent as the flag, right? So like that in itself is, it's like, it's definitely a continent. Like, look, it's even on his flag. Like, I just think it's like a way to distract people. And anyway, so
This one is a touchy subject. This whole fucking video is a touchy subject. So anyway, this one's hard to get across to people big time. But outer space is up for debate. Space programs are compartmentalized, and most astronauts are Freemasons that have to swear an oath of secrecy when dealing with the so-called missions. The thing is that there is so much footage of NASA and other space agencies making mistakes. Sometimes we could see bubbles in the spacewalks. Sometimes we could see harnesses and wires on the people in the International Space Station. The permed hair that moves nothing like it would in zero gravity. These are huge red flags, not to mention the Van Allen radiation belt. The Van Allen radiation belt is a layer of energetic charged particles that is held in place around a magnetized planet such as Earth by the planet's magnetic field. Sounds kind of like a dome if there is one. Oddly enough, one of NASA's employees admitted that this radiation belt needs to be figured out before humans could pass through it. Listen closely.
As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
Let's talk about satellites. We've already discussed how there are no pictures of the Earth. So are satellites even real? Not likely. Ground towers are built all over the world and are more than adequate to relay our television, radio, and cell phone service.
99%, it might be less now because of Starlink and other people using what we're calling satellites on aircrafts to bounce the signals off. But there are absolutely satelloons. There are absolutely what we call satellites that have been connected to helium balloons. NASA is the 90% of helium in the world is purchased by NASA. And they've also crash landed. We've shown videos, we've shown like photos of these crash landings, like even in Brazil and other areas over the years, and then showing them getting like pushed off of platforms on land and sea. And so for anyone to say that that's like satelloons or anyone that talks about satellites being on balloons, like they're fucking the conversation's over. Well, that's your loss. If you're a truth seeker, your loss. Because there's even patents out there. Like, it's irrefutable evidence. And so, and again, like over anywhere between 95 and 99% of the underwater cables are what gives us internet. These have been underwater for a very long time. And there's no southern continents or regions, land masses where these connect, which also is a red flag as to the globe Earth model that has been pushed on us. Anyway.
All GPS is done through land-based towers, and things like Google Earth are taken with high-altitude planes, and most of them are just done with cars on street level. Did you know that satellites were actually invented by Arthur C. Clarke, the science fiction author.
I didn't know that.
They shortly became science fact after that. The geostationary satellite, look it up. It was created by a science fiction author. And then within a decade, NASA claims to have sent a real one up there. And ever since then, that's where we get all our communications from.
So if satellites were real, we would constantly hear stories of them being hit by meteors or comets, and that doesn't happen. No one's ever lost their direct TV feed during the Perseids meteor shower because one of the meteors knocked out one of the satellites. It doesn't happen, it's never happened, and it won't happen. And that to me tells me there is no satellites. You would constantly be worried about them, and you would constantly hear about them having something happen. And it's so rare that you hear that.
So you may or may not have heard the term cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when new information challenges your beliefs and you just can't let go. It's just like that scene in The Matrix.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible. Stop. Let me out. Let me out. I want out.
We have a rule. We never free a mind once it's reached a certain age.
It's not easy going through this kind of deception and then realizing that your whole life was spent thinking and believing one thing when it's the opposite. Nobody wants to feel like they've been fooled, like they've been had. I'm a human just like you, and I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that I'd be on this kind of journey.
Well, I mean, I knew it just because of my work. I'd be shitty at my job as an international security advisor and someone that was, in the fields I've been in if I didn't figure this out. And so I'm going to give you, Werner von Braun went from Nazi to NASA. And this was his tombstone. Psalms 19:1, very interesting. That would be on his tombstone. Also part of the propaganda campaign. And so if you go on your Bible search, I have the King James Version of the Bible. I have other Bibles, but I also have it electronically where you can do a Bible search. And so I went to Psalms 19:1 because that was on his tombstone. And it says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Interesting. So even he, upon death, was admitting that we are in a contained environment, that there's no one going into outer space as we're being led to believe. And, the common line being approximately, like 60 to 80 kilometers or miles. I think it's miles up. That is what people see as the transition zone from inner space or low orbit, whatever you want to call it. The delineation between us and outer space. And
journey of realization and reckoning, this journey of putting everything I know to the side so I can absorb information that seems ridiculous, yet so sensible. It's time to say, fuck it. It's not your fault.
Yeah, so the common line, boundary separating Earth's atmosphere and outer space. And saying that 80 to 100 kilometers approximately up, or 50 to 62 miles above mean sea level. There you go. Just wanted to be a little bit more precise with that.
That you were wrong. It's not your fault that you fell for a trick that the whole world also fell for. I'm right here with you. It's time to take down your mental barrier and recognize that we have a lot of work to do in order to find out what this place really is and why we're here. It's not to be slaves of the dollar. It's not to be slaves of the clock. Our reality is being manipulated and hidden from us. Please wake up and try to awaken those around you. So how did this happen? Okay, let's start in the classroom.
Yep.
The first time anybody enters a school classroom, they are introduced to the globe model of the Earth. This three-dimensional scale model of the Earth that has never been proven was invented in the 1400s. Fast forward to 1927, a big-budget movie company called Universal Pictures came out with its movie intro, and guess what? The spinning ball Earth still hasn't been proven. This is 30 years before NASA was founded. Over the years, Universal kept coming out with similar logo intros, and to this day, we see the spinning ball Earth before many of the movies that we watch. Besides, there are countless movies about outer space that use the same model. We have been indoctrinated, and it's as simple as that. For the spherical Earth to remain unproven after this long is a wake-up call to everybody that lives here. We need to shed this programming right here, right now, and find out what the fuck is going on. No more embracing this sick illusion that was created by psychopaths. I'm going to keep searching for answers and trying to make something happen. All I want to know is, who's coming with me?
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
Okay, Barack Obama with your husband, Michael Obama, and your little trysts with people like Larry Sinclair. And the Flat Earth Society is a psyops propaganda. It's led by the government and corporations that are affiliated with them. And there is some good information in there every once in a while, but there's a lot of bullshit that no flat earther believes in. And so when people go to the Flat Earth Society for their content to like make fun of flat earthers, you're making fun of yourself. No offense.
I'd like to be an explorer, like the Great Magellan.
Oh, you're too late. There's really nothing left to explore.
Right before your surgery, I asked if you had packed your cell phone, and you said, which one?
Breaking Bad.
Skylar, I was medicated.
You probably know this, but like they use elements within these within this series as well. Very interesting. But even with the like there's like the periodic tables is utilized in this as well. So there is some subtle observations that are made for us to reassess the science that's being pushed.
I mean, I could have said the world was flat.
You know what I think? I think you accidentally told the truth.
The world was flat.
You know what I think? You accidentally told the truth.
The world was flat.
You know what I think? You accidentally told the truth.
Really, the evidence shows me that it's flat and stationary. There's much more evidence based on just pure analysis that it's flat and stationary.
You're a genius too.
So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. Wider below the equator than above the equator.
little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby's a good way. It's like pear shaped.
Really, we're in big trouble as far as lack of critical thinking and lack of free thinking. We really are in big trouble. We need to step it up as far as the awakening goes. You really need to put your thinking cap on, and you really need to start to look at these things and look at them with a critical eye and with a critical mind.
Okay, so I'm trying to find Brian Mullen's page. So if anyone can send that to me at some point, I would deeply appreciate that. So this video is running way over time. I've got so much to do, and so yeah, I'm gonna be pushing the not pushing, but I'm gonna like probably check out Mullen stuff again, just like refresh myself and maybe share that this week. I want to share some more True Earth data, because again, I want to be ready for the 21st, Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Time, to be on Jeranism. And so if anyone has any questions for me that I haven't already answered, then save them, and I will answer them on the spot when I head to the show. And so I'm a little concerned about my internet connection. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my God, I hope it works out. It is what it is. So anyway, on that note, I will leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day.